much. Yeah, at the very end, we had maybe 20 minutes of scrimmaging with 3 teams, short games. The guys were pretty tired because we put them through a lot the first 2 hours of practice, and then finished it up with the scrimmaging, and guys are getting shots up and lifting now, and it's a good day.
I mean, I know you were kind of joking about it, but was it intermixed, or did you go first unit, second unit?
No, we put well, with Draymond out, we put the other 5 guys on one team, and then we separated the next 2 white and red. The team that dominated was the red team with the red pennies on. Let's see, they had Brandon, Jerome Robinson, Usman, Rudy Gay, Rodney Magruder. They swept 3 games, so they were fantastic.
Visions into those scrimmages, like who looked good?
It's just too early. Early. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's everybody is in really good shape. That's the main takeaway. Everybody's in good shape, good spirits. Really, a lot of teaching today, and everybody took to it well, and very productive day.
Is it fair to assume, though, that, until Draymond is back, like your starting lineup is the 4 with Chris? I mean, sounded like that was the default today.
Yeah, I mean, those 5 guys will start the first game. Yeah. So you can just tweet that out. That'll be a great talking point around the water coolers, I guess, but as I said in camp, we're going to try a lot of different lineups and throughout the exhibition season. So, they'll start the first game and we'll see after that. But we've got to try a lot of different groups and see what we have.
Following up on this, but more just in a broader term, without Draymond being available for camp and for at least a handful of preseason games, how does that affect trying to figure out different lineups, different combos at work, and then also just trying to build new chemistry on the court with Chris integrating and also just other rotation players?
Yeah, it's not ideal. But Draymond obviously has been doing this a long time, so he'll pick up everything right away. But it would have been nice to see him in different combinations, get him and Chris together, and others. But it is what it is, so you just move forward.
I don't know if you're kidding or with the joke. So you're saying that you hope that the starting 5, whenever you're doing, is Chris Paul's included in that?
When we play our first game Saturday,
okay.
Chris will start with Wiggs, Clay.
Just want to make sure I didn't
Steph and Loon. So that'll be the starting lineup. And I'm really happy about announcing it now because now I don't have to answer that the next 4 days. So,
just following up on that, just on paper, that's kind of a small lineup, but how much does it help to have Chris Paul's playmaking to replace Draymond's in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is, it's hard to describe the feeling of having Chris Paul on our team. He's one of the great point guards of all time. We've been competing against him for so many years. He's one of the guys that I've coached against where you just shake your head at how good he is and how particular he is about every possession. Getting his team a good shot, getting himself a good shot, getting everybody organized. He's so smart. He's a winner, and so to have him on our side is amazing. And I think maybe the biggest benefit that he will bring to us is his ability to run an offense when Steph is off the floor. I mean, they're going to be great together too, but. The biggest problem we've had since I've been here is the non-Steph minutes. Even when we had Kevin and that group that won, back-to-back titles, our non-Steph minutes, our whole goal was to just put a great defensive team on the floor and win the game, win those minutes with defense. We've never really generated great offense with Steph on the bench, and Chris will help us do that.
with that starting lineup, obviously Clay would be at the 3. You talked last year about kind of like the evolution of Clay's game. Do you see him being more of like a 2-3 also now, and possibly even a 4 at times, the way that the evolution of Clay too?
Yeah, Clay. If we play that lineup that I talked about Saturday to start, which I'm anticipating doing, as I said, barring injury, Clay would guard the 4-man. That's he's so physically strong. He's so used to guarding post-up players after switches. So we're thinking Clay can guard as a 4 this year. We're going to put him in coverage, where he's having to defend pick and roll as a 4. That would be a different job for him. But we're planning on doing some of that and seeing how he does.
Steve, a bit of an older roster this year, and different rules in terms of how guys can be managed. With a bit of an older team this year, what's going to go into keeping these guys fresh, throughout the duration of this 82-game season?
We won't really change anything. I will lean on the performance group to really share their thoughts on practice schedules and intensity levels, and then part of my job as coach is to pace the team through the season. So I feel like I have a pretty good feel for what guys need, if they need a day off, if they need a light practice. That's a big part of the job. But with all the people we have involved in that decision-making process, we'll figure that out.
Jonathan and Moses have had interesting, first 2 seasons in the league. And I guess since the new era of you guys, young players have come and gone, but they're still here. Just how important is this year 3 for both of them, and where do you see them contributing to this team?
Yeah, I mean, year 3 is always a big moment in everybody's career. You get a couple of years under your belt, and really it's time to take that next step. And both guys have been working like crazy all summer. And I have plenty of confidence in both of them. They have each helped us win a lot of games in their first 2 years. They happened to come to a championship team right away. First year first year in the league, being with a title team. That's not an easy thing. But they're both working and getting better every day, and I have a lot of confidence in both.
You kind of alluded to the fact that when Steph's off the bench, you're going to want to have Chris kind of running the show. How do you envision that unit playing? Will it be kind of like Chris Paul basketball, with that second unit? Yeah,
one of the things with having veteran players is they dictate a lot of what happens during a possession. So I don't anticipate having to be standing up making calls a lot. We're going to run plenty of pick and roll because Chris is one of the best pick and roll players in the world. But he's also showing that he's very interested in incorporating himself into some of the stuff that we already do, our split game and our movement. And he's such a smart player that he's already figured out ways to be effective. So I kind of look at it like we're going to lean into him, but he's also going to lean into us, and we're going to kind of meet halfway, and the offense will form as we get a feel for combinations and patterns.
Specifically with that second unit, though, who do you think can really benefit from that style? Obviously Kuminga comes to mind as maybe a dive man, but how are you seeing that second unit? Yeah,
we'll see. I know that Chris and J.K. played together a lot this summer in pickup ball. We did that on purpose to get them together because we see Jonathan really benefiting from playing with Chris. But I think everybody benefits from playing with Chris. He makes the game easier on the whole group. And, but it's easy to envision, Gary out there, Dario. These guys are proven vets, right? And so whatever the combinations are, we've got a lot of guys who can play and have proven that they can win at a high level in this league.
Hey, Coach. So obviously it's day 1. very early. Preseason games haven't even started, but they start this weekend. Now, coming into the season, being able to kind of see your guys on day one, obviously being able to be on the same page all throughout last season may have been an issue. How do you feel going into this season, seeing all the new faces? I know everybody's excited to be back, but do you feel like everybody is kind of on the same page, that there's a cohesiveness there this season that wasn't there maybe last season?
Yeah, it feels great. The first day, a lot of good work, good vibes, everybody on the same page. Losing, and we'll do that sometimes. We lost in the second round last year. We didn't have a particularly successful season with our expectations, and sometimes that can be very motivating. So it's a long off season. Our guys came back really ready, and I'm excited. I know that they are too.
Steve, what do you get from a healthy Gary this year? I mean, in the past you've used him in certain specific ways, but this year, he says he's really feeling good. I mean, what do you want to get from him?
Well, the first order of business in camp is to reestablish our top 10 defense, and Gary's one of the best on-ball defenders in the world. So having him healthy on the roster right away, I anticipate we're going to reestablish our defense easier because of his presence, and in theory, that should lead to a better start to the season than we had a year ago.
Is it similar to last year where he played some with starters and some with reserve? He kind of was a bridge guy where he played a little bit with both squads.
Gary?
Gary.
Yeah, Gary's going to be in our rotation. So if you're in the rotation, you're going to play with a lot of different people. I anticipate bringing him off the bench like we did 2 years ago. But I anticipate him playing a lot of minutes and very important minutes. He could be in there down the stretch of games if we're rolling and he's playing well, and he's going to play a huge role for us.
And the last question I had right now, at least, is quickness. Your team doesn't look to have a lot of quickness, but how much of that can be offset by age and ingenuity and just knowing the angles and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do have some speed and athleticism, in our roster, but I think that's accurate. We're not going to be the quickest team, the most athletic team, but got a lot of skill, a lot of knowledge, a lot of feel, championship experience. I think we have a chance to be a really good team that can be a good two-way team, and that's what it takes to win at a high level, win on the road. So that's what I'm looking for.
What's kind of the defensive key when you play Chris and Steph together?
They're both really good defenders. They obviously don't have a ton of size. What we found playing against Chris was on switches, he's just a rock. He's a brick wall down on the block, and so people can try to post him down on the block, but it's not easy to score on him down there. But it'll be, matchup based, who's guarding whom, what's our pick and roll coverage, who's out there with those guys. So those things are all to be determined.
On the second unit, obviously, Chris will be out there some of the time at least. And you mentioned he's played with J.K. a little bit. Chris and Dario, how much will their history kind of matter with what you guys want to do?
How much will it matter based on what?
Just the fact that they've played together,
Yeah.
and they're two vets who've been teammates.
Yeah, that's a big part of this. We were so excited to get Dario for a number of reasons. One of which was that he was very effective with Chris in Phoenix. But we felt like what we had 2 years ago with Belly and Otto Porter, that dynamic of having a big who can shoot and pass and make plays and has experience was really important to give this team a different look. And Dario does all that stuff, and he's a great pick and roll, pick and pop player, excellent shooter. So he's a really big addition for us. We're excited.
As far as the two open roster spots right now, do you care how long that decision goes for? Are you comfortable doing it closer to the regular season, or do you, as a coach, kind of have a baseline as far as when you want to make those decisions? We usually, we've been in this position a lot, and we usually let it play out over the course of camp. So why not, right? Take every day that you can to evaluate. I know 2 years ago, Gary Payton was in that spot with Avery Bradley. They were both worthy of winning that final spot. Ultimately, we gave it to Gary, and
he helped us win a championship. So this is a great process for us, to be able to really evaluate over 3 weeks before we have to make a decision. Justin Holiday made our team, 7-8 years ago in the same manner. Ian Clark, I think Quinn Cook maybe too. So we've had guys who've really been effective for us, who made the team in camp, and it's a really valuable tool for us to be able to have, given that we do have these 2 open spots.
What can Draymond do right now?
He was riding the bike down there like crazy, so it was good to see, that he's able to do that, and he's able to lift, and so he said it to you guys yesterday. He's a quick healer, and the swelling in his ankle's gone down pretty well, and he's working in that weight room, and he's going to do everything he can to be ready.